Well, Iraqis hoping their military can turn the tide against ISIS are getting at least a sliver of good news. The militant fighters have been driven out of some villages and other areas they'd been holding. One town that's been retaken is about 45 kilometers south of Baghdad. Iraqi state TV has been airing this video showing soldiers celebrating their victories. And the US, meanwhile, says it continues to pound ISIS positions in Iraq and Syria. It says nearly a dozen airstrikes have been launched since Sunday. 5 ISIS vehicles and a building the militants had been using near Kobani were destroyed, according to CENTCOM. It says there were also airstrikes against a small group of ISIS fighters near Iraq's Mosul dam. Well, CNN senior international correspondent Ben Wedeman is with us now from Baghdad. Ben, just bring us up to date on these hit-and-run attacks. Some successes, though, some failures.
Well, the successes at the moment, according to the Iraqi media, are in Jarf al-Sakhar, which is just south of the Iraqi capital, where after about 2 days of battle, the Iraqi army and, of course, the Shia militias were able to drive ISIS fighters out of 4 villages in that area. We've been seeing on Iraqi television pictures of corpses of prisoners that the army and the militia claim that they have taken. But overnight, ISIS did strike back. We have it from sources down there that at least 15 Shia militiamen were killed when a Humvee disguised as a Humvee belonging to the Iraqi Army's Special Weapons and Tactics squad drove up to a group of militiamen, blew up, killing at least 15, wounding many more. So even though ISIS seems to have been driven out apparently from those areas, it's still operating around there. And what we've seen in the past is often that the army and these militias will be able to drive ISIS out, but as soon as they focus their attention on other areas, ISIS comes back. Robin?
Also, interestingly, Ben, it seems like Shia militia are taking the brunt of the frontline fighting, with the Iraqi military protecting the rear.
But certainly that's what we've seen in a variety of cases. When you go up to the front lines, you meet with the Iraqi army. They accompany you to the front. But at the front itself, it seems that most of the fighting is being done by these militiamen. These are militiamen. They're members of what's known as the Hashd al-Shabi, which means the popular mobilization. It involves a variety of these Shia militias that go back several years to the years of the American occupation. Now, they're somewhat problematic because during the time, sort of what people call the civil war in Iraq between Sunni and Shia, some of these militias were essentially death squads killing Sunnis who they thought were their enemies, or just Sunnis in general. So when these militias go into areas that ISIS has previously occupied, these are areas that are predominantly Sunni, and oftentimes the Sunnis who used to live there have either already fled with ISIS or are very hesitant to go back as long as those areas are controlled by these Shia militias. So yes, they do seem to be playing a key role in the fighting against ISIS, but that's a problem for many Iraqis.